What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about everything Michelle Rodriquez ate to become Holga Kilgore in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves.
Holga is a barbarian, lives to fight foes and everyone else.
And with me, I have my wingman, Hunter Seagulls. Hunter and I worked with Michelle on this movie. I helped to prep Michelle here in LA, to build her up, to look the part. Then this man took over in Belfast and he spent 5 months on set with Michelle to make sure that she looked the part and moved the part. When I got the phone call to work with Michelle Rodriquez, I did not hesitate. I'm a big fan. I knew that if we did the right things in the gym and in the kitchen, she would look amazing. So I got 3 months with Michelle in LA to build her before she flew over to Belfast to work with Hunter on the actual movie. The objective was to build as much muscle mass as possible so she would look the part when she started to film in Belfast with this guy. As you might know by now that you cannot out-train a poor diet and you can run a marathon and be overweight. So when it comes to a proper body transformation, you need to get on top of both nutrition and training. I had Michelle on a 3-day split, a lot of heavy training. We had some ability work in there as well. If you want to see how we train Michelle for Dungeons & Dragons, check this video out. I had Michelle on about 1,500 calories a day. We wanted to make sure not to go below 1,500 calories a day. It's hard to gain maximum amounts of muscle mass if you're in a calorie deficit. That's why you want to make sure that you eat enough calories, protein, fat, and carbs in a day to support that muscle growth. Another important goal was to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound body weight. So if you're at 150, that means 150 grams of protein in a day, which is a lot, but that's what's needed if you want to support maximum muscle growth. A typical breakfast would consist of eggs or maybe protein shake. The goal in the morning was to get about 20 to 30 grams of protein in. At the same time, we were trying to avoid anything that would spike the blood sugar in the morning. So no fruit juices or any sugary stuff. 3 hours after breakfast, Michelle had her first snack. We were aiming for 25 to 30 grams of protein, anything from a protein shake to boiled eggs or a chicken salad. We also tried to get some fibers in there. Then it was time for lunch. Lunch would consist of fish, chicken, beef, or a vegan protein source, slow carbs, good fats, and a ton of vegetables. About 3 hours after lunch, we would do another snack. That snack would be similar to the first snack, 25, 30 grams of protein and high in fiber. A typical dinner would consist of maybe salmon or chicken with a slow carb like farro or barley with some avocado or nuts and a ton of vegetables. 5 meals a day may sound like a lot, but when you're eating clean, you need to eat a lot of food. That was a typical day of eating for Michelle. Obviously, when you're working for 3 months, you will make adjustments at some point, but a typical day would look exactly like that. And after 3 months, Michelle had gained a ton of muscle mass. She looked the part. Then it was time to travel to Belfast, meet up with this guy, and work on the movie. Did you stick to a similar plan, like 5 meals a day and calorie-wise while filming?
We absolutely did our best. You know, days are long and sometimes stuff happens, but we did our best to stick to 5 meals a day.
The tricky part when filming is that you've already made a big transformation, right? You've gained all that muscle mass, you've changed your body, and now you need to maintain that while filming long days, having brutal days on set, super physical. Production would have to shut down because of an injury. That would be disaster. So not only do we want to keep them in the shape they're in, but we want to make sure that they stay injury-free. How was that for you?
You know, it's not always easy, but, you know, if some days we weren't able to get 5 meals in, just as long as at the end of the week, 80% of the time, like you always say, 17 out of 20 meals, we're staying on point, we got the job done.
Yeah, and I mean, as you can tell, the way she looks, you can tell that it did get the job done. I think it's important to say that we do have private chefs on set. When we work on a big movie like this, we have chefs that we design the menus with. We're making sure that the right food comes out at the right time, and then we kind of make sure that the actor eats it as well. That's our job. We need to make sure that everything's going according to plan, right?
Exactly. And sometimes when you're busy, your appetite gets suppressed. So that's where you and I step in to make sure that the food comes out on time, it's on point, and that it gets eaten.
How did you guys train when you were over there filming?
We did our best to stick to our 3-day split, the same as prep. But, sometimes filming goes long, and we just made sure that we hit a certain amount of sets per muscle group every week.
I've been filming in Belfast. I worked with Alexander Skarsgård on The Northman, and I know they love their smoked fish up there. How did Michelle handle the smoked fish?
She was not on her Viking swag with the smoked fish.
All right. I happen to love smoked fish, but I'm Swedish, so I'm like 10% of my blood is smoked cod. When filming a big movie like this, normally you work Monday to Friday, unless you need to do something specific that requires a Saturday or Sunday, or if you're behind in schedule, right? So on the weekends, when you guys were off, how did you adjust training and nutrition?
Well, it's like you said, it's an extreme balancing act, right? So, if you're working hard Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you should let your hair down, Let them
work hard, play hard.
Exactly.
So on the weekends, you weren't as strict with the diet?
Definitely not.
That's good to hear. I always say that when starting a diet, any type of diet, try to approach it with balance. 17 out of 20 meals should be on point. 3 out of 20, enjoy life. I'm not a big fan of diets when you exclude foods that you like. It's really hard to stick to a diet when you don't get to eat that pizza if pizza's really your thing. So it's better to have a system where you can eat it every once in a while. And that's something we work with our actors into our work as well. Even when we work on these big movies, we try to approach nutrition with some sort of balance. Our movies, when we take balance and we throw it out the window, right? When someone needs to look like extremely cut or anything that's very extreme, then you might have to be less balanced about it. But on a movie like this, there's room for balance. Even at this level, we try to implement that so our actors can eat foods that they like every once in a while. I think that we're doing a poor job if we only feed them chicken, rice without salt and broccoli. Anyone can do that. When you really start to get deep into nutrition and start looking at macros and strategies, there's room for good food in there, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth saying that if you need to go psycho mode and throw balance out the window, that's a really sort of temporary intervention.
Exactly. So for all of you out there that wants to do a body transformation and change the way you look and feel, I would do that with balance. Make sure that you approach nutrition with balance. Make sure to look at your macros, your protein, fat, and carbs. Eat enough protein every day to support muscle growth. Make sure that you don't overeat or undereat fat and carbs. If you want to lose weight, it is extremely important to know that you need to be in calorie deficit, but you also need to dial in your macros. You see, if me and Hunter are eating 2,000 calories a day because we're on a diet, and I eat 2,000 calories worth of ice cream, and he eats chicken, rice, a balanced diet, who do you think is going to stay healthy the longest? Who's going to keep their muscle mass or even gain muscle mass? And who's going to live a long life?
Yeah, not all calories are created equal.
Exactly. So it's important to understand calories, that you don't overeat calories if you want to lose weight, but at the same time, you need to dial in your macros. You need that protein, which is the building blocks of muscle and tissue. Fat and carbs are fuel for the body, right?
Exactly right.
So Hunter, do you have any fun memories from Belfast?
Oh man, yeah, I have a ton of fun memories. We had a great time. And I think that it was really rewarding just to sort of put that balancing act into practice and be able to make adjustments on the fly, but make sure that we're still sticking to the plan.
So you're saying there's room for Guinness and pickled herring?
I think that that's part of any balanced nutrition plan.
There you go. To wrap things up, I think I speak for the both of us when I say that working with Michelle was fantastic. She's not only a great actress, she's an incredible human being to be around.
Wonderful person, incredibly hard worker, and yeah, the results speak for themselves.
Thank you so much for watching. I don't know about you, Hunter, but all that talk about that Guinness made me want a Guinness.
Let's make it a car bomb.